Hi guys, my name is Muginesh Kumar.
My name is Thurgashhini. I'm Shiphrah here.
My name is Sharvita.
I'm Murugan.
Flow and error control and bi-directional transmission. Selective repeat automatic link request.
Stop and wait, automatic repeated request.
Piggybacking.
I'm going to talk about go back and automatic repeated request.
So, as you know, I'm going to talk about flow and error control. What is flow control? Flow control is a flow control coordinates the amount of data that can be sent without receiving any acknowledgement. As you can see, it's one of the most important duties of the data link layer. And flow controls also tells the sender how much of data to send to the other user. And it marks the sender wait for it of the sort of acknowledgement that it needs. And error control is the data link layer is based on the ARQ. ARQ is actually automatic repeat request, which is the retransformation of data. The term error controls refers to the methods of error detection and retransmission. Anytime an error is detected in an exchange, specific frames are retransmitted. This process is called the ARQ. ARQ is actually automatic repeat request.
Hi guys, what is the error control and what is it all about? In information technology theory and coding theory with applications in computer science and telecommunication, error detection and correction over error control are techniques that enable reliable delivery of digital over unreliable communication channels. These are what is error control are. Okay, now let me explain you error control techniques. Okay, when you look at error control, which is error correction, there is two. It's divided into two parts, which is stop and wait automatic repeat request and also sliding window automatic repeat request. So under the stop wait is nothing. So in under the sliding window there is two, which is go back and also selective reject. These are the table of error correction classification.
Categories of flow control: stop and wait ARQ, send one frame at one time only. Sliding window, send several The sender has to wait for an acknowledgement of every frame that it sends. Only an acknowledgement has been received is the next frame sent. This process continues until the sender transmits an end of transmission frame. In stop and wait flow control, the receiver indicates its readiness and to receive data from each frame. Let us look at the diagram now. For every data is sent, there need an acknowledgement, which takes a similar amount of propagation time to get back to the sender. Only one frame can be in transmission at a time. This leads to the inefficiency if propagation delay is much longer than the transmission delay. Advantages of stop and wait ARQ. A stop and wait ARQ is simple and each frame is checked and acknowledged well before the item is sent. And the only disadvantage of stop and wait are only one frame can be sent in transmission at a time. It is inefficient if the transmission is sent more than a time.
Hi guys, y'all want to know what is bidirectional transmission? I will teach you about it. What is bidirectional transmission? Bidirectional transmission is also a printer point that was first introduced by IBM in 1987, which was the introduction of the PS2 computer. The bidirectional port was in the port cable of transmitting between the 75 and 300 kilobyte per second was available as either as type 1 or type 3 port which used as a DMA.
My name is Sharvita and now I'm going to talk about piggybacking. Piggybacking data is a bit different from sliding window protocol, which is used in the OSI model. In the data frame itself, we incorporate one additional field for acknowledgement called ACK. Whenever party A wants to send data to party B, it will send the data along with this ACK file. Considering the sliding window here of size 8 bits, if A has received frames up to 5 correctly from B and wants to send frames starting from the frame 6, it will send ACK6 with the data. So the three rules that governs the piggybacking data transfer is, if station A wants to send both data and an acknowledgement, it keeps both fields there. If station A wants to send just acknowledgement, then a separate ACK frame is sent. If station A wants to send just the data, then the last acknowledgement field is sent along with the data. Station B simply ignores this duplicate ACK frame upon receiving. Piggybacking is a wireless communication content. It is the unauthorized access of a wireless LAN. Piggybacking is sometimes referred to as a Wi-Fi squatting. The usual purpose of a piggybacking is simply to gain free network access rather than any malicious intent, but it can slow down data transfer for legitimate users of the network. Furthermore, a network that is vulnerable to piggybacking for network access is equally vulnerable when the purpose is data theft, dissemination of viruses, or some other illicit activity. It's quite simple to access an unsecured wireless network. Get the Wi-Fi hotspot signal and select your chosen network from the options. However, unauthorized network access, even to free Wi-Fi, may be illegal to access. People who has been fined for accessing hotspots from outside business, for example, coffee shop that provide free Wi-Fi for the customers' use. To prevent this from happening and to protect your network from piggybacking, ensure that encryption is enabled for your router. Use Wireless Encryption Protocol, WEFP, if that's your only option. But if possible, use Wireless Protected Access, which is called WPA. Use only encryption. Thank you.
Hi, when you take a look at go back and automatic repeat request, it is a sliding window method using cumulative acknowledgement. So the size of the receiver window should be 1. So for example, sender may send frames 1, 2, 3 and 4 and get a negative acknowledgement with the value of 2. So the negative acknowledges everything that came before it and asks for frame 2 and subsequent frames to be reset. Okay.
Basically,
Hi. In go back and ARQ, the receiver sends the negative acknowledgement for this frame along with that frame number that it expects to be retransmitted. After sending negative acknowledgement, the receiver discards all the frames that it receives after a damaged frame. The receiver does not send any acknowledgement for discarded frames. Hi, then just now we just take a look at a damaged frame. Now we just take a look at the lost frame. In go back and ARQ, receiver easily detects the loss of a frame as the newly received frame is received out of sequence. So the receiver sends the negative acknowledgement for the lost frame and then the receiver discards all the frames received after a lost frame. The receiver does not send any acknowledgement for the discarded frames.
Guys, selective repeat ARQ overcomes the limitations of go back and by adding two new features. One is receiver window more than one frame and another one is retransmission mechanism is modified. Okay guys, so let me explain what is receiver window and retransmission mechanism. Receiver window is when out of order but error-free frames can be accepted, and retransmission mechanism is when only individual frames are retransmitted. So, what we can do with this method? In this method, only specific damaged or lost frame is retransmitted. Sender only retransmit frames for which is a NRK is received. NRK number refer to the frame lost. If a frame corrupted in a transmit, a NRK is returned and the frame is resent out of sequence. The sender needs to maintain all the data that hasn't been acknowledged yet. The receiving device must be able to sort the frames it has and insert the retransmitted frame into its proper place in the sequence. It has advantage that few retransmission that go back end, but complexity at sender and receiver is involved. Okay guys, so what is damaged frames? In selective reject, if a receiver receives a damaged frame, it sends the NRK for the frame in which error or damage is detected. The NRK number is like go and back and also indicate the acknowledgement of the previously received frames and error in the current frame. The receiver keeps receiving the new frames while waiting for the damaged frame to be replaced, and the frames that are received after the damaged frame are not to be acknowledged until the damaged frame has been replaced. That is what we call damaged frames. So next we go for lost frame. As in a selective repeat protocol, a frame can be received out of order and further they are sorted to maintain a proper sequence of the frames. While sorting, if a frame number is skipped, the receiver recognizes that the frame is lost and sends a NRK for that frame to the sender. And after receiving the NRK for the lost frame, the sender searches the frame and in its window and retransmits that frame. And if the last transmitted frame is lost, then receiver does not respond, and this silence is a negative acknowledgement for the sender. So guys, I explained about lost frame, and if the last transmitted frame is lost, then the receiver does not respond, and this silence is negative acknowledgement. So what is negative acknowledgement or lost acknowledgement? In selective reject, if the sender does not receive any ACK or the ACK is lost or damaged in between the transmission, so the sender waits for the time to run out. As the time runs out, the sender transmits all the frames which it has not received the ACK. So the sender identifies the lost ACK with the help of a timer.